Some conversations are uncomfortable to start. This is one of them. But I've learned that the topics most people avoid in faith spaces are often the ones that need to be addressed there the most. If you have ever walked into a room and immediately felt like you didn't belong, if you have ever been the most qualified person at the table and still been talked over, passed over, or looked through, if you have ever had to work twice as hard to be considered half as capable, if you have ever smiled through something that made you feel less than human because the alternative felt too costly, then this message is specifically for you today. And I want to start by saying something that should not be controversial, but somehow still is. Your experience is real, your pain is valid, and God is not neutral about injustice. The entire arc of Scripture bends toward justice. But there is one story I keep returning to when the weight of inequality feels too heavy to carry. Joseph was sold by his own brothers into a foreign land where he had no rights, no advocates, and no recourse. He was enslaved, falsely accused, imprisoned without trial, and forced to build a life in a system that was fundamentally stacked against him. Sound familiar? And yet Scripture never once records Joseph becoming bitter. Not because what happened to him was acceptable, it wasn't. Not because he pretended the injustice didn't exist. He named it clearly when he finally confronted his brothers. But because Joseph understood something that his circumstances could never take from him. His identity was not defined by how the system treated him. It was defined by whose he was. That is not a call to passive acceptance of injustice. The prophets of Scripture were the loudest voices against systemic oppression in their entire cultures. Amos, Micah, Isaiah, they didn't whisper about injustice. They thundered against it. But they thundered from a place of settled identity, not shattered identity. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your presence in every room you walk into matters far more than the people who overlook you are willing to acknowledge. And the God who saw Hagar in the wilderness, who heard the cries of Hebrew slaves in Egypt, who chose a shepherd boy that everyone else overlooked, that God has never once been unaware of what you are carrying. He sees it, every single bit of it, and he is not indifferent. Keep going, keep showing up, keep using your voice, keep building, keep pushing through doors that should have been open already. Not because the system deserves your excellence, but because the world needs what God put in you, and it cannot afford for injustice to silence it. I'm Ricky, and I want to speak directly to the person who has been exhausted by having to fight for dignity that should never have been in question in the first place. You are seen, you are valued, and you are not fighting alone. Now go share this with someone who needs to be reminded that their worth was never up for debate, regardless of how they have been treated, and then go out and have an amazing day on purpose.